All right. Let me know if the music is good. Transition. Alright, so for those of you who were here yesterday, essentially what I'm wanting to do is I want to... Alright. Turn it into Matthew McConaughey or something. Yeah, let me know if the music is good or whatnot, if it's too overpowering or anything like that, or if you just want me to turn it off. We'll probably only stream to the end of that music, which will go for about an hour and a half, I think. Oh, a little over an hour, so maybe a little longer than that. We'll see. We'll just see how this goes. Because you know me, I can't always just stream for a set amount of time. Music is fine. Yes. Sweet. Alright, so let's go ahead. I'm going to turn that off. Okay. Good. Okay, so at this point, I think I'm ready to just kind of turn off his second set of arms. I had them in there for the sake of the Draw This in Your Style challenge from Tanner Wilson on Instagram, t.m.wilson. In fact, let's I'll plug him. Oof, just got a weird pinch on my arm there. Instagram.com/t.m.wilson. That should hopefully work. Yeah, sweet. Alright, so that is the link for Mr. Tanner Wilson. He's the one that I originally started this character for. Now I want to kind of recycle it in a sense so that I can have my imaginary friend character good and ready to go. Yesterday I started this samurai sword, and as you can see, I've got a couple of the main elements in there. I've got the blade now, which the blade is something that I modeled out this morning, so that it's got like the sharp edge of it's got the back of the blade just kind of ready to go. And then I've got the handle, which I built out yesterday. I built out the links, and then I used duplicate to be able to kind of pull it along and make a chain. So a couple of the things that I'm thinking I want to go through and do. First off, I want to go ahead and go back to my unposed version. So we're going to go back to number 3 here. You see there we've got him. Let's actually move this guy forward. Okay, let's make sure he's all visible. The reason I want to move him forward is you can see he's not in the center of the grid. So to move him, wow, I don't want that to happen. And one of the things I want to check and be sure of is that I'm not leaving things behind. Let's go down to that waistband, unmask that rather. I did make the katana in ZBrush, and it still has a little bit of a ways to go, but it's definitely coming along. Okay, I just want to make sure that he feels like his body is along that center line, so that way when he rotates, when I do turntables and things like that, he'll be in that center. Okay, so yeah, that katana, let's go ahead actually, and we will say, let's just copy. So what we can do is underneath Z plugin, we go to Subtool Master, we can go copy folder, and we can go ahead and take that over into our other folder here, into our other file. It's super helpful. I'm going to end up getting rid of a bunch of these not needed subtools. So let's see, let's go ahead and say paste folder. Okay, so you can see now we've got the katana model in here. And yeah, so to be able to kind of show you, Quentin, this is kind of what I've got right now. Very super simple geometry. I mean, when it's smooth and dynamic subdivide, it gets this really nice kind of, braided handle sort of look. I mean, obviously I didn't go through and, obviously I didn't go through and think about the way that the whole wrap actually goes together, but it's good enough to fake it. It's good enough to get the look. Yeah, it'll work. It'll work. Works well enough. Yeah, so let's see. So there are a couple of things that I want to do. I need to make a pommel for the end. I need to bend the sword so that it's got the right shape. Give it a slight curve. What I'll do for that is I'll use, I will use Transpose Master, so that way I can control the whole sword at once and use use a deformer to be able to give it a gentle curve. There are certain parts that I don't want to model until I got that bend in there. For instance, I've got this guard right here, and this guard, I can't remember what the actual name is for it, but this guard right now, it just has a stand-in cube. And what I want to do is I want to actually model the guard as a separate piece and place it after the sword has its bend, so that way I can maintain the integrity of the straightness of those edges and things like that. Still, I need to think about a design for that, and whatever design I use for this guard, I'll probably use some similar type elements to be able to create, like, you can see like these little flower coin inlays here on the hilt of the sword. So yeah, little things like that will be kind of important to making this thing work the right way. And then the pommel, the end over here, there's going to be like some sort of metal piece that kind of goes on the end there. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do, but again, I'll bring in some of the similar type elements like I have here and here to be able to do that. I am thinking currently, well, let's start working on this guy. Let's turn off those arms. We'll have to resculpt kind of the upper back, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not heartbroken by that. That's so weird how that looks right now. I think there is a way for me to delete hidden. Let's kind of go ahead and pull this out. And then some of the other things I want to go through and kind of play around with a little bit in this next short bit is the colors. The colors were developed to try to include more of the color palette that Tanner used on his original, and I feel like the upper half is kind of working. I like the colors that are going into the character's body and into his mask, but I feel like as soon as you get past this waist, I feel like these shoes totally lose me. And maybe it's just because I didn't finish building out all the details and things like that to be able to get, like a rope trim or things like that I wanted to add. But yeah, we'll play with it. We'll figure out kind of what it is that we do color wise. I'm thinking kind of a darker palette to kind of bring it into more of a serious character, or a lighter palette, to kind of reflect what's going on in the mask. So we'll have to see how that goes. For right now, let's go ahead. Let's keep sculpting out this body to kind of fill in the space where the... Oh boy, my wife's turning on the oven. It's about to get hot. Oh, gotta turn off my spotlight projection samples. That's one of those things I wish... Well, I mean, technically there is a plugin that can get your spotlight projection to be off by default. Somebody was telling me about that the other day. Just gonna kind of come in here lightly. Oh, one of the things I wanted to make you guys aware of, I will be putting out my new podcast today too. I went ahead and recorded that this morning, and then I've done most of the editing. I just need to, oh shoot, I don't want to change my, or I don't want my smoothing to affect my color. But yeah, I did my podcast, and the theme for this podcast is choosing to be successful. Choosing to be successful, manifesting, and just being happy. I feel like there are a lot of things happening that are kind of dragging us down, and so I wanted to share some thoughts about really just choosing to be happy, choosing to have the life that you want. It's not as easy as just, deciding, hey, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to have the job that I want, etc., 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 because there are other factors at play. Let me see. I don't really like how that's going so far. But yeah, so it's important stuff, and I feel like as we learn to be more considerate of others and compassionate towards the way that we are all going through the same situation, we're all going through the same or similar situations. It's all different though, and it's like I say at the end of the podcast, it'll be spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear it yet, plug your ears. We're all in the same storm, but we are not in the same boat. It's something from a discussion that I've had with my wife, and something that I know that I've heard somebody else use as well. It's important to recognize that people are going through things differently, and we all have different things that are affecting us, and we all have different struggles, even though we're all in the same pandemic. And we all have different things that we are prepared with. Some of us might have more savings, or some of us might have a buttload of riches that's just self-perpetuating. Like, I don't know, I mentioned the Kardashians in particular, poor guys. But it's important to realize we're not in this together. We need to be, and we need to lift each other, and try to be compassionate towards others, because we all have different struggles, and I think that it's by really learning how to be compassionate towards others in their times of struggle. Even if you're struggling, we all have different struggles, and we all have some way that we can help lift and benefit others in those struggles. So hopefully the podcast is as well thought out as I'm hoping it is, and that it impacts someone. So yeah. Just trying to build out muscle in kind of a funny way. I'm intentionally not trying to base this directly off of what is real anatomy. I don't want it to read as realistic, as if I copy and pasted someone's real muscles in there, but I am wanting to make sure that it is relatable and that it is believable. Let's take this muscle right here, this deltoid, and just kind of pull it back some. Okay. Yeah. Some important thoughts. try to add like a little bit of a ridge in there, but I think it's coming across too strong. I think it's adding too much definition. And yeah, I kind of want to add in some subtle form changes in here, but I'm trying to be careful that it's not overstated. One of the things that's really, really hard to do is to get creases that feel natural, especially on this type of character. Creases that feel natural, but also to get it so that it doesn't feel overstated. You know, like a lot of times when people are going through, I've had students in the past where they're like, I learned how to do muscles, look at this, and they go through and they show me how they went through and just carved everything in. It's like, okay, you learned the shapes if you're looking at a drawing, or you learned the placement, but you haven't quite learned how to sculpt out the forms of those muscles, and that's the trick. So right now what I'm doing, I mean, it's all very stylized and pushed and exaggerated and not hyper realistic. But if I'm patient with it, I can get something that feels kind of yeah. So the podcast will be on YouTube. I'm hoping to put out the link privately to my to Patreon, so you'll be able to get to that, Quentin. Put it out through Patreon first as a private link, and then in a couple of days I'll probably release it publicly. So yeah, it'll be cool. Try to be somewhat, beneficial or something to to the patrons. Give them first dibs. Okay. Right here, I'm still kind of toying with the idea of how caved in I want this part of the back to be. I think I maybe want to pull it out a little bit right here. Yeah, I do need it to be caved in a little bit right here in the center. Okay, there we go. Just got a notification I dropped out of the top 10 on Duolingo. Dang it. I have not been nearly as diligent with my Duolingo the last couple of weeks as I could have or should have been. Especially if I'm diligently trying to learn my languages. But it's fun. Okay, so you see, one of the things I'm trying to talk about with these forms, so you see like there are spots where it's really, really deep, and spots where it's really shallow. Deep, but then shallow, shallow, shallow. And what that's doing is that's helping to give me a sense of a differentiation in form, even across these areas where you're transitioning across chunks of muscle or whatever it is that may be through here. Let's try something. In fact, let's go over to the green. Let's go to a gray, but keep it still kind of green. Oh, I don't want to turn on RGB for this. Let's go to standards, turn off that, and there we go. Something like that for now. And then I think, what if I were to take this, make it a little bit more of a dark color here? And we might have to go through and unify it a little bit, we'll have to see. But a lot of what I'm trying to do at this point is try to figure out um, is try to figure out how the colors can start to harmonize with the top. And currently, I mean, I'm still not entirely sure that this is quite what I want, but we're gonna try it out. Try it out and see. I know that I want to get rid of this blue. Maybe want to make it like a yellow or something like that. So let's, okay, color, fill object. I do know that I want to go ahead and bring in some of the colors from the mask down to the lower portions of the body. Trying to think through how to go about that, what my design might look like in harmonizing in that way. Let me see, let's come down here, fill object, oh, not that. Color, fill object. Color, fill object, and then since I want there to be kind of a distinction between the top and the bottom of the sole, I want to go ahead and pick this this waistband color, and let's do this. I'm gonna pick that, although I do want to make sure that I'm, yeah, let's do this. Control Shift X, oops, that's a bit too much. Control W just to make sure we get that oops. Let's go ahead and pick that. Control W. Okay, so now we can go ahead and we could say, let's hide that. Control A, bring it back, and then we can go ahead and say color fill object. See, that's already starting to feel a lot more harmonized. I'm gonna get rid of this blue here too. So yeah, as soon as this finishes saving, let's go ahead. Let's change it to the gray, although I am kind of liking the idea of this being slightly darker. So I'm just gonna kind of get the pant color, change my RGB intensity to like below 50, and then I can go ahead and I can fill, and that'll fill it at an opacity that'll kind of just fill it in little by little. I feel like that helps to kind of unify the character quite a bit. Although what I might do, I'm gonna try something, since you know we can do that. Poly paint, adjust my colors. Let's say frame. Let's do this. We'll pull our saturation up, and then we'll just kind of adjust our hue. I'm trying to decide if I want to pull it into like a brown, or if I want it to be kind of like an off red. Let's leave it black for now. Black. It's dark gray. I only work in black and really, really dark gray. I'm the voice double for Batman. Got this. Okay, so currently at the moment, I do want these arm muscles, like these forearm muscles, to feel a little bit more correct. select. Let's go back over here. Kind of sculpt this out a bit. Yeah, let's go ahead and smooth some, just so we have a bit more even of a surface. I gotta check and see, make sure that my forms aren't getting too lost. And I'm trying to check from different angles just to make sure that these creases that I'm putting in here are following in a direction that I'm pleased with. Yeah, because this is a hard design to kind of work with in some ways, you know, because I went through and kind of really chunked up these wrists to really make them feel sturdy. I think what I need to do is kind of pull this out, kind of adjust that shape a little bit more so that it's got a better continuity, so that it's more designed. I think that feels a little bit better. Just gonna pull that down and in. There we go. Yeah, it's all about playing. That's all design is. It's playing. Call it good with something like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so one of the things I need to add in some sort of sash for the back of the head. I have a simple sash that's kind of like keeping his mask tied onto his head, which is not as high resolution as I'd like, but you know, well, let's go through and let's add some. Maybe, maybe not. You know what? Let's be more selective about our adding edge loops, just so we can control the shape, let's turn that off. Yeah, just control. Pull that out a little. Well, actually that might not need to be pulled out a little bit. Let's see. Oh, hello. Didn't think about that, did you? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, let's pull this so that it's more adjusted to the head. It does have to have that little crease in there just to make it feel right, but then it's gotta feel like it's actually going up against the hair and pushing it in. And good golly, that's why we have it there. Okay, so we're gonna have something like that. So I'm just trying to adjust little by little just to kind of figure out where everything fits. definitely want to make sure that I have some more resolution through here. Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's save this so that we don't lose anything, because that drives me nuts. Okay, and then close my eyes and I can see. And let's go through and say delete all. Okay. What else do we have? Got the sword, which honestly I want to have at the bottom. I try to organize things in a way that shows hierarchy, things that are most important, things that belong to the character, to the body, things at the body go at the top, and anything, so you work your way down the body in that sort of group where it's like anything that belongs to the head. So you go and start with the head, and then you got the eyes, and you got the mouth parts, and then you've got hair. That could be hair and then facial hair, which would include hair, eyebrows, eyelashes. Then you go down like mustache, beard, however you have things split up, and try to organize things in that sort of way. And then I work my way down. So base layer clothing. So then I would go shirt, pants, socks, shoes. And then I would go ahead, any jackets or vests or things like that, organize those in with the shirt area, and then any props toward the bottom. So currently, since the mask is the face, I'll probably have that toward the top, but I also have to go ahead and kind of get rid of a bunch of things. So let's do this. We're going to say delete. Okay. I'm going to say delete. Okay. Delete. Okay. Now this is something I think it was like a stand-in for the waistband at some point. Waist cape. I'm still not sure if I will or will not use this. I might keep it for now. This shoes piece, it's really nothing, so we're just going to go ahead and say delete. And then inside of the mask layer, there are a bunch of like old pieces that we can get rid of. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and say, I'm going to merge down all these pieces that I don't need to. Oh no! Bummer. Let's restart this bad boy. Yeah, see, there's the editing the podcast for later. That's a good thing I saved recently. Let's go ahead and open that back up. Dang it. Okay, recovered tool. Let's just go ahead and we'll just delete pieces that we don't need instead of merging them down together to delete it all at once. Yeah, let's go through. We'll say delete, 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 delete. Delete. Okay, the sword doesn't have any extra pieces. That's nice. We'll take... Okay, then everything else looks like it should be just good to go. So we definitely don't have a super dense mesh, and that's nice. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna save this. Let's go ahead and replace the old one, and I'm gonna open up the I don't want to go. Sorry about that. Hey Kiwi, how you doing? Good to see ya. start getting ready for work. Well, have fun, Quentin. So I'm going to take a look at this. One of the things that I did, I did a ton of sculpting on these arms for the forearms and things that I really like, even for the wrists, that I really kind of want to push over. And yeah, in fact, maybe it's worth going through and taking this and adding it to here, and then adjusting the arms, adding in the parts to make it so that I've got the anatomy the way that I want it. I'm doing well. I'm doing as well as I can be. Life is pretty alright. Okay, so there is the other set of arms. Now there are things that I did technically with these other arms that I kind of like, that I might have to just sculpt into these ones if I were to go through and replace at all. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Let's go ahead and do this. What the? We'll say Control W, invert that, say geometry, and we will delete hidden. Boom. Okay, these hands, I can get rid of these, so let's just kind of drag these out. In fact, let's go ahead and change over to Select Lasso, just because I like Select Lasso. It's a nice tool. Just gonna get rid of that extra little lip there. Some of these things I'll have to go through and kind of re-sculpt a little bit, just to, and in fact I'll have to mirror and weld too. You see there's like a huge difference between how those actually fit together. Let's go ahead and say close holes. And let's paint this in. Actually, let's do it like this. Just so we can make sure that we're painting in just the white parts, and any of these tattoo sections can stay kind of sketched in. Potential spam calling from Las Vegas. Get a lot of those potential spam callers. I figure if it's important, if it's not actual spam, they'll leave a message. Hopefully. Okay, so now we've got that and we got this, and I want to make sure that these are lining up. House is trembling. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to place this as best as I can. I'm going to have to make adjustments to other pieces. Go ahead and kind of eliminate half of that. Oh, but I wanted to, alright, let's do this. We'll give that a different poly group, And we'll just, oops, let's go ahead and we'll hide this. Okay, now we can invert it. There we go. Okay. So far, it's pretty cool. Let's go ahead, let's do this. Control Shift X a few times. And maybe what I'll do is I'll take this part, the new part, adjust it more to that right there. But in some of these places, like right here, I'll probably try to take the bicep and sculpt it in more to where that lower arm is. And the reason is that on that lower arm piece, on the other version, on the posed version, 102 degrees outside where you're at, man. You're over in Culver, right? Yeah, it's 102 over here too. And the air quality is rated as unhealthy. 154. 154 for the air quality index. It's like, ugh. It's so bad. I probably need to go through and change out the furnace or the air intake filters. Let's kind of adjust this a little bit and we'll kind of like cozy them into each other. I'm trying to find a good average point for some of these things, specifically here with the hands, because with each version, there was something that I liked about each, and I'm trying to see if finding a good compromise is the right thing to do. So I'm kind of experimenting some. That's pretty typical for if I'm going through and trying to design something. It's if I'm working off of a design that's already finalized and decided, then definitely don't want to be experimenting too much. There we go, something like that. Take care, Quentin. Have a good day. Be safe. And don't get too warm. So now we've got those arms, and they feel pretty uniform. They feel pretty connected, and that's good. I'm going to take this, I'm going to say delete all, delete hidden, so that way I don't have to worry about that extra little piece in there. And let's make sure that we've got that whole piece as its own polygroup. Still adjusting, playing with some of these anatomy shapes. That's pretty good. I might have to go through and kind of play with some of these shapes down here. Yeah, definitely have to. I don't like how caved in that is. This is why we check things from different angles. It's something I didn't catch before on the other version. Okay, that's better. Let's go ahead and Control M. I do want to possibly maintain the hands as its own separate subtool. That way I can hopefully make sure that it does not join in with the rest if I decide to use Dynamesh, which I likely will, because the topology for the hands is probably what I just want to use for the end of this. So we're gonna go ahead and say subtool split hidden. Woo! I wish that it told me on my OBS how long I'd been streaming, because that'd be helpful. Looks like I've been going for about 47 minutes. Ish. I mean, there would have been several minutes before I turned on the music that let's go ahead and smooth this out some. I'm not going to worry about keeping like all the fancy hatch marks and whatnot from the posed version. I'll have my own sculpted in details. However, I decide to do that at some point when I finish the sculpt. Have this be its own thing. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go through and kind of sculpt this together. So some of this I'm going to start to build out kind of some separation here. Just try to play around with how these muscles kind of pull together. Hey Andy, how would you retopo under the armpit? And that's because he's pretty bulky and there's things in the way. So yeah, I would straighten out the arms. Because you're right, I mean he is really bulky, he's very muscular, so I would take the arms, let's turn that on. I would take these and essentially move them out more like this. In fact, maybe I need to just go ahead and put them in position for that now. One of the things I like about having them in this position for sculpting is that it's helping me to understand how the anatomy fits together in a more natural position, closer to a relaxed position. And so that's kind of why I've been going at it like that. But you're right, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's one of those things where you'll want to think about simplifying things in a way that your process can handle all the different parts together. Let me see. I mean, we've got a little while before we go through and try to play with topology for this guy. I guess not too much of a little while. We got a little while, very little while. that's just looking messy. Let's see. Just kind of smooth that in a little bit. Refine some of these forms. You should try topo gun. Yeah, I mean, I've seen people who have used topo gun in the past, and personally, I still feel inclined to stick with ZBrush and Maya, especially since ZBrush added in the new topology tools, the extrude, snap to face, snap to surface. It's extremely quick and super efficient. So that's kind of my new go-to. Yeah, I mean there's that, and it's like going through and trying to add another piece of software. It's kind of just that. It's just it's something to add. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. But I appreciate the plug. I didn't like that. Let's see. Yeah, the idea behind this guy is to give him kind of like these I don't know, like this body paint tattoo style that makes him feel very ancient Japanese warrior oni sort of character. I don't know. I'm having a ton of fun trying to figure this guy out. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of the idea. I'll probably reference some of the Street Fighter sort of stuff because they've got some fun things design wise. Go through and kind of pull out this muscle a little bit, well, at least this side of the triceps, and pull this side of the triceps up some. And just kind of adjust the way the deltoids kind of mush into the lats and everything. kind of want to, let's do it. I'm not even gonna say that I kind of want to, I'm just gonna turn it on. I'm going to go to brushes, go to smooth, wherever it is, there it is, smooth, and let's do smooth stronger. Skip until next restart. Always something, always something. Okay, so underneath these arms, I don't have much of a reference for that, but if I remember correctly, there's like kind of a split where you can see the form of the bone kind of coming through on super strong characters. So I might just kind of like try to leave it at about like that, and maybe like continue some sculpting once we get it into that sort of position. It's kind of add a little bit more edge to them. Not a ton, just a little bit. And then we'll kind of add in a little bit here. I'm going to let's do this. This will be helpful. I need to bring this part of the wrist down, and then I need to use my clay brush and kind of carve out the wrist a little bit. Maybe let's use damn standard. Something like that. And then we'll come back to it in 10 minutes and decide we don't like it. Do it all over again. Alright. That might be good enough for now. Let's see, the front of that deltoid ought to be the bigger half, so let's kind of flatten this out some. We'll have to repaint all the tattoos and stuff anyway, so I'm not really like overwhelmingly concerned. I'm just kind of using the clay brush. One of the things I like about it is that it feels like it kind of just fills in crevices really nicely. So yeah, just trying to use that to fill in that space. Let's make sure it doesn't go up too high. Pull it down some. And then let's fix this form up here a little bit. Now the forms are starting to work together better. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, when we're done, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do this thing where we turn everything off except for the sword. Okay, so you can see there are like all my divisions. And this has all of its divisions. I think I want to double the divisions going horizontally on this, so that way like I can go ahead and have it bend more uniformly with the wraps. So here's what I'm going to do is I've got this piece. I've gotten all those divisions in there. In fact, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 23 divisions going through the middle there. And then for these, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, let's just do it like this. I've got, go ahead and turn off perspective. And in fact, let's do it like this too, because I've got to make sure that I can see. Shift A, Control A. I need to be able to see where things are lining up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shrink tool. I want to make sure that things are lining up. So that way there's a division for each of these points, and so that way the handle and the wrap bend together really nicely. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and invert that. We'll say split masked. Handle. Rename wrap. Rename guard. Rename blade. And the idea is to go through and give it the cool swirly pattern. I forget what the pattern's called, but traditional Japanese katana have this beautiful swirly black pattern that comes to it because of the way that the metal had been founded together, and the way that it's cooked, the way that it is literally forged. Super neat. Anyway, so let's do this. Take this and we're going to say Z plugin transpose master T pose mesh. Let's go through and make sure that that's all nice and centered. And then we'll go ahead and say bend curve. Oh, no, not bend curve, bend arc. Let's try this one. Okay. Does that look good? Looks pretty good. And then what's cool is that I'll be able to use, oh, here's what I should do before I do everything. A ver, which one was I working on? Is this the right file? Samurai Luchador. Yeah, this is the right file. Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna zero this out so that I don't lose track of what file I'm working on. Oh, interesting. It totally messed up the naming. Blade. Okay, let's save this because this is gonna drive me nuts if I lose track of stuff. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do, I want to build the sheath as well. Now I said that I wouldn't build the pommel or the guard out. You see, I mean, the guard is just like this super simple cube. But I mean, I've got the blade, I've got the handle pretty much handled. What I want to do is I want to build out a sheath. So let's come over here. Let's see. Yeah, let's do it like this. Control Shift D. And then let's go solo. And then I want to say extrude all polygons. I'm just going to extrude it out a little bit. Get rid of these extra loops here. Get rid of that loop there. In fact, that's not quite what I'd like, but yeah, let's do it like this because it looks like it's really pretty much fine. Do it like that. And then what I can do is just extrude out everything else. So let's do that. Maybe not. You know what? Okay, better idea. Better idea. Let's leave this part just kind of as it is for right now. Here's what we want to do. I am going to take the handle, Control Shift D, I'm gonna go solo, and let's just move this down. Now, one of the things, let's get rid of that those extra little pieces down there. Let's say geometry, delete hidden. And then let's also go ahead, I'm going to scale it out in every direction except for the length for the time being. Let's go ahead and center it so that it's doing it nice and even around the sword. Okay, something like that. Okay, so now we can go ahead Move this down here, lengthen it out, and then whatever pommel we create for the end of the handle, we'll go ahead and we'll use that to kind of make something custom for the other end as well. Okay, let's see. So we've got this sheath. Put this down at the bottom. Huh. Blade, let's go ahead and delete that blade because we don't need it. Blade to sheath. It doesn't go 1-to-1, which kind of worries me. Let's maybe it doesn't have to worry me. Maybe it doesn't have to worry me. Let's not worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take these. I'm going to say delete. Yeah, single poly, that's fine. And then I'm going to go Control-Shift-D on that blade. I'm going to take it below the sheath, and I'm going to use the sheath, hit Control-M. Well, Control-M is my custom shortcut for merging down, so, you know, just kind of helpful to me. I'm going to take this end of the blade piece, bring it in so that it's on the inside of, say, Flip Faces Island. Just going to get rid of. Hold on, let's do this again. Let's go ahead, let's pull this out. Okay, so one of the things I'm running into, I want to kind of make sure that I don't run into, let's collapse this poly loop. I don't need that extra topology through there, but one of the things I want to make sure of, great. Okay, so these faces are just backwards anyway. So that means that we got to go ahead, flip faces, we're going to say poly loop. So this is kind of part of why we're running into an issue with this piece. So let's see, that's backwards. Let's say mirror and weld. It's like all these things that we got to go through and fix. Okay. Autosave, of course. Okay, I should have, let me turn on symmetry, make sure I've got that on. Okay. So let's say spin edge. Oops, come here. Oh, where did it go? Make sure it's spinning in the right direction. There we go. And in fact, if we wanted to, it might even be better just to go ahead and say, let's delete single poly. And then we can go ahead and say, come down here to the end. Then we can go ahead and say collapse poly loop. We should be able to collapse these just fine. top. Okay, let's go ahead and change this to stitch to end point. Okay, something like that. One of the other things that we were wanting, I mean, it's not like it's going to be something that anybody's going to see, but you know, might as well, right? Making the inside of this sheath so that it has a proper volume, so that it can accommodate the width of the blade. Oops. Okay, let's go ahead, let's do this. Let's say geometry crease, uncrease all. Yeah, let's just say uncrease all. And then we'll say crease edge loop partial. Get these so that they have proper creasing. Okay, so one of the things I'm trying to keep an eye on currently, okay, let's insert single edge loop just to get that, and then let's flip this island so we can keep track of, you know, having things in the right, you know, facing the right direction. Okay, so display will hit double so we can see that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start bridging things together. So we got a bridge, edge to edge. Now right here I'm missing 2 edge loops that I'm going to definitely need in order for this piece to work the way that I want. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that I am seeing, this the right way. Wow, okay, let's do this instead. We'll go ahead and we'll polygroup this whole inside so that it's all the same. Okay, so we need 2 edge loops. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead, single edge, insert single, and we're just going to insert the 2. They're looping nicely, kind of going around, and it makes a single continuous loop. Just makes it really nice. So now that we have this, I only needed 1. Psych. Okay, let's go ahead and just add the 1. I feel dumb sometimes, but it's okay. We all get that. So we're just going to bridge that, and now we've got this solid sheath for our katana. And then this is something that I could go ahead and duplicate. Yeah, let's go ahead and add proper creasing. Let's say edge loop partial. It's great. Make sure I've got good creasing in here. Now this is interesting. Oh, you know why? It's because it's going, okay, I get it. It's okay. It continued it nicely. It kind of wrapped itself up nicely. So we'll accept that. It's not perfect cubes or not perfect squares, but you know, it works fine. It's in a spot where nobody's ever going to see it. If we really wanted to terminate this in a clean quad-based way, we could go ahead and it's pretty easy to take 4 edges down to 2 by just kind of let's do it. Let's do it just for the sake of showing it. Turn off double. I might need to actually invert this piece before before I use it. Okay, so 4 needs to go down to 2. Okay, so the way that we need to do that is we need to, these going out there works great. We can add in, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm not even going to worry about it. It doesn't feel like it matters, really. There we go. Okay, let's see. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and shrink that in just so that it has a little bit of a bevel to it. Always yes. Just to kind of test and see. Let's uncrease that edge. And uncrease that top edge. Now looks like it's working. Need to add some creasing here so that it keeps its shape. Yeah, and then the rest of that's just good to go. So now that's fitting perfectly around the sword. Okay, with a little bit of a buffer space. Yeah, if we were to, let's turn off that guard. And we'll turn off transparent. Oh, we need a little bit more buffer space. But really, it's working pretty well. Okay, now it fits. Ha! Sweet. Turn that guard back on. And now we're good as gold. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add those, that wrap to the sheath. Control Shift D. I do want the resolution of this wrap to stay the same down the length. Of course, I guess it's not necessarily something that you see every time. Let's turn the music back on, just so you guys don't get bored. Let's come over here. Let's go Samurai Katana. Let's go to images. Yeah, I mean, it looks like most of the time there won't be wrap on the swords, on the sheath. So maybe I'll just leave it, and we'll figure out how to go about making this fancy little bit here. This is something that we're going to want to add in. There are a lot of very simple guards on these katanas. These are all modern ones, so maybe I need to figure out. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Clay tempered, nice, cool. Anyway, lots of stuff going into it that things that I'm trying to think about and consider. Let's jump back over into this. We'll keep that the way it is. And now we can go ahead and we can add, let's make sure that we save. Okay. Now we can go ahead and do our transpose. And the reason why I wanted to do it after, like do the whole sword before doing the transpose, it just really makes things a lot simpler. getting shapes to be uniform. You see, now I've got the whole thing, and it's all following that same shape. There's the sheath, there's the sword, and the sword follows the sheath, you know, so it's super, super handy. Okay, I love Transpose Master. Maya's easier. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. T-pose sub T. Let's go ahead and save that. Although I will say, like, one of the nice things about Maya is that you can go through and keep things very, very clean, more easily. One of the things that ZBrush will go through and do is kind of merge things down. But yeah, different workflows, different people. Okay, so now that I have this, let's go ahead. Let's extrude single poly. Oh, come on. Island, please. Okay, so we'll get that end of the katana kind of coming in here. Just kind of extrude it out so that it's got this, like a little bit bigger of a shape. Okay, let's go down, let's rename this. How do you spell pommel? I'm going to put pommel, P-O-M-M-E-L. Is that right? A rounded knob at the end of the handle of a sword, dagger, or old-fashioned gun. Sweet. I got it right. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's turning out all right so far. So for this, and we're gonna work on, I mean, eventually, I probably actually call it good. For today, let's make it so it's a little bit bigger than the rest of the handle. Probably call it good for today, and then let's turn on symmetry. And then I'll come back to it at some point. Because this what I'm working on now is, in essence, it's a way of that's like that's smoothing out too much for me. I just need to add another couple of things in here. Let's go ahead, let's insert a single edge loop. Let's add in a few divisions. Actually, let's use the multi. Something like that. Crease edge loop partial. It's holding the shape much better. So now let's go ahead and we'll just increase our smooth. Good golly. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and insert single edge loop in here. Okay, let's go Control A. Come on. Control A. Invert that. Good golly. I'm having troubles today. Wanted to give it a little bit more roundness at the end, and it's not rotating around my brush. Okay, there we go. Maybe it's just because it's so low resolution or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. Actually, we probably won't have to see. We probably won't find out at all. But whatever. So yeah, I'll eventually go through and add in a bunch of different little details. Like we were talking about, we had this. Oh, actually, it looks like I didn't. I didn't save the spotlight. Okay. Let's go ahead and scale that. And then we'll go ahead and we will say opacity. Okay, so one of the things that... Is there a mirror button actually? Extend, flip. Oh yeah, flip horizontal, there we go. Okay, let's do that and bring this up here. Now I'll go ahead and I'll save it. So one of the things that I want to do, kind of like what we have in this example, is where we have that little coin piece there. I want to add in my own design of a coin piece in, but I got to go through and kind of do a little bit of designing to figure that out. I have some stuff that I went through and developed for different projects. I might have to go through and kind of figure out what it is that I actually like. Katana spotlight, that way I can keep that. I might add other images to that at some point, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty stinking cool. Control S to save. And then I think we're gonna call it good for right now. Pretty excited. I am pretty stinking excited. That looks like that somehow got vert welded. What a pain. Okay, I'll have to fix that at some point too. What a pain. Yeah, like you're saying, Dark Snakes. Maya sometimes for some things, definitely better. I still use Maya for my UVs and such. It's definitely the way to go. Anyway, I'm gonna call that good for now. Save, and thanks to anybody for tuning in. I will see you guys around the interwebs. Yeah, feel free to join the No Spare Time challenge. You can find past entries and things like that by searching No Spare Time challenge or No Spare Time on Instagram. You can also find the Facebook group No Spare Time Design Challenge, and I post the themes there, and I post works in progress, and anybody who's part of those groups can post work in progress as well. There's also a community for these groups on Discord for anybody who's part of the Patreon community. So if you're interested in that, feel free to come join, and I would look forward to seeing